Hi. Now, you have already seen the thumbnail, you have already seen the title. What we are going to discuss, what are the ways with which you can actually turn yourself from a noob data scientist to an expert, if I may. For a very simple reason, expert actually enjoy a lot of things in their career when they are growing their career compared to noob. So let's learn how you can actually become that. Okay, let's try to discuss why one should become an expert data scientist. Now, obviously, you can say, Avinash, I already know why I want to become. I want to make a good salary. Well, answer is not a good salary. You can make maybe 18, 24, 36 LPA as an expert. But the thing is, are you enjoying that work? Are you making product? Are you actually productive? Are you actually making sure that the company is growing and hitting the target which are supposed to be hit as a data scientist? Okay, so if you're going to increase your productivity, you are going to actually become an efficient data scientist. Salary is going to be something which will be decided based on the value you're putting in the table. But obviously, if I talk about yourself, you will be personally satisfied with what job you're doing, and your team is going to actually increase their productivity because you are an expert. Now, I regularly get calls from various recruiters who are looking for data scientists, and I ask them, what is the one reason or what are the things which make a data scientist an expert and which make a data scientist as a beginner, or I should say a noob? Well, they told me that there are various tools which a data scientist can actually use to make them an expert, and this is what we are going to discuss in this particular video. Okay, so the first tool which obviously we are going to discuss is Jupyter Notebook. What is the advantage of this particular tool is that it works on your web browser. You don't have to actually go to your IT team and you have to ask them, hey, can you please install Jupyter Notebook for me so that I can start using it? No. You will simply go to a web browser and you have to hit this URL, or sorry, whatever URL you're having for Jupyter Notebook, and it will start working in your web browser. And whatever customization you have to do, you can do it from your web browser itself. So you don't have to actually reach out to your IT team again and again and discuss, install something, because this works in your web browser. Now, I want to mention one thing. It is one of the most used notebooks by the data scientists for a very specific reason. It is very easy to get started and it is very easy to use this particular notebook. Okay, now let's discuss about the next tool, which is Keras. Now, obviously, that is a very weird name. The answer is, when you talk about deep learning, if I may, this is obviously a concept of data scientists. When you talk about deep learning, if you don't know what is deep learning, I'll make a separate video on that. So what happens, deep learning is a bit complicated. Deep learning is a bit complicated. So this particular tool is actually built so you as a human being can actually use simple APIs to implement deep learning, because this makes your life a lot easier. And obviously, if that makes your life easier, you're going to bring solutions which are quite efficient, which are going to be productive. So this tool also helps you become an expert data scientist. The difference between a beginner and an expert is using right set of tools. And obviously, when talking about plotting the graphs, we have some great tools which are free as well as open source. The name of the tool is Matplotlib and Seaborn. These tools are specifically used to actually make, or I should say, plot graphs in your whatever project you are making. Now, I was going to say Jupyter Notebook because obviously, as I mentioned in the first point, Jupyter Notebook integrates great with the various libraries and tools. So what happens when you want to plot something like this? Again, I'll give a very simple example. This is a very simple plot, if I may. A plot can be something like this, giving a data, or I should say understanding of what is happening within the data. So if you want to showcase how data is, these are the two tools you can actually use to become an expert in your data science job. Now, when we talk about data science, we cannot actually skip numbers 0 to 9. We cannot skip them. If we talk about Python as a language, if we talk about Java as a language, if we talk about Scala as a language, they're great language. But the problem is they're not great with numbers. So we have a specific library, which is a NumPy library, which is specifically built for Python based projects. This is actually one of the most integrated, best, if I may, in the industry, and most used library in the world related to numbers, because in data science, your data is nothing but numbers. And if you want to manage your numbers quite efficiently as an expert, well, this is one tool you must be using. Now, if you're an expert in web development, your expertise is JavaScript, and you want to say, okay, now I want to become an expert in data science also, what can I do? Well, do I have to learn something new? Well, you don't have to actually learn something new. There is a library with the name of TensorFlow, which actually works on your web browser also. So what happens, like let's say if you're building some machine learning model, if you're doing some magic with data science, so what you can do, you can actually use TensorFlow to actually implement those solutions. Now, I want to mention one thing. The Jupyter Notebook, which we discussed in the previous points, that is a tool with which you can actually do the magic of data science. TensorFlow is a library using which you can actually build something for data science. Now, when we talk about plotting the graphs, that is one thing, but can you make interactive graphs? Can you actually integrate multiple data? Now, can you actually make sure that a report is generated automatically? In that case, as an expert, you can use Taboola, which is actually a very good tool for plotting the graphs which are actually towards your data. And you can actually make efficient dashboards for your company, so you can actually showcase what expertise you have. So I hope all your doubts are now clear with this video. But I understand you must be having some questions. In that case, comment section is the right section for you. But if you need some guidance related to your career, which could not be answered in this video, obviously click on the link which is given in the description of this video, and someone from our team will make sure that your career doubt is clear.